high power factor, and it is having good speed regulation and robust construction. So all these are what? These are the advantages, or these are the salient features of three-phase induction motor. Okay. Then the working of three-phase induction motors is based on the principle of rotating magnetic field. So in order to make the induction motor to rotate, there should be some mechanism, right? So that mechanism, which is very important for the operation of three-phase induction motor, is rotating magnetic field. So rotating magnetic field means usually this three-phase induction motor, it is having three phases, R, Y, and B, and all these three phases, they are going to be produce each phase of the flux. That is, R phase, it is going to produce one flux, Y phase, it is going to produce another flux, and B phase, it is going to produce another flux. All these three, they are rotating in nature. Okay, the rotating magnetic field can be defined as the field or flux having constant amplitude but whose axis is continuously rotating in a plane with a certain speed. So what is the characteristics of rotating magnetic field? This is the flux or the field given by each of the winding, R phase, Y phase, B phase. All these are giving us what? They are going to give us flux of constant amplitude, and all the time they are rotating with a certain constant speed. Okay, so this is the rotating magnetic field with which motor is rotating. So how to produce the production of rotating magnetic field? Okay, so how to produce this flux which is rotating in nature? Let us see. A three-phase induction motor consists of three-phase winding as its stationary part called stator. So three-phase induction motor, it is having three-phase winding, and all these three-phase winding, they are housed inside the stator. So basically there are two main parts of the induction motor. One is stator, other is the rotor. So stator, it is having three windings, R winding, Y winding, B winding for all the three phases, and they are connected either in star or in delta. Let us see now. The three-phase stator winding is connected in star or delta. The three-phase windings are displaced from each other by 120-degree electrical. So these windings, they are going to produce the flux which are displaced by an angle of 120-degree electrical. Then the windings are supplied by balanced three-phase AC supply. So all the stator windings, they are energized or supplied with the help of three-phase AC input. Okay, the three-phase windings are denoted as, for R phase, one terminal is denoted as R, other phase it is denoted as R dash. Similarly, Y phase winding, one phase will be Y, another phase will be Y dash. On the same hand, the last phase, B phase, it is having one terminal denoted as B, other winding denoted as B dash. Okay, so this is the star or delta connected three-phase winding. So this is the stator. Stator here, one phase is R, other phase is B, other phase is Y. So this is the phase belonging to R winding, B phase winding, Y phase winding. So altogether R, Y, B, it is three phase. Yeah, what is that? AC machine. Similarly here, the other connection for the induction motor, how it is connected? Star or delta?
Delta
Here it is,
connect.
here it is delta connected. Stator of the induction motor is delta connected, and here in this case, stator of the induction motor, it is connected in star fashion. This is star connected stator of the induction motor, and this is delta connected. And as I told you, all the three phases winding, they are going to produce the rotating magnetic field, and their value of the rotating magnetic field along y r axis is pi m sine omega t. So pi r is equal to pi m sine omega t. Similarly, the next flux that is produced along y axis, it is having the what is the formula for that? Formula for that is sine of omega t minus 120 degrees, means it is having 120-degree what is that, phase shift with respect to the flux of R phase. Similarly, the flux produced by the B phase is pi m sine omega t minus 240, or else it is pi m sine of theta minus 240, where omega t is theta here. So all the three fluxes, they are displaced by an angle of 120 degree with respect to each other. So this pi r will be along R phase, pi b along B phase, pi y will be along Y phase, and their values are shown here. Pi r is equal to pi m sine omega t, pi y is equal to sine of omega t minus 120 degree, pi b is equal to pi m into sine of omega t minus 240 degree. So altogether, there will be three fluxes produced by R, Y, and B phases, which are displaced by 120 degree electrically, and they are all the time rotating at a same speed with constant amplitude. These are the characteristics of fluxes produced by R, Y, and B phase of the three-phase winding. Okay. Now, the sum of the three fluxes, they will meet at this point, or pi t, total flux in the stator of the induction motor is pi t is equal to what? Flux given by the R phase, flux given by the Y phase, flux given by the B phase. So altogether pi t, total flux is equal to flux of R phase, pi R plus pi Y plus pi B. So this is the total flux. Then, as I told you, these are having the constant amplitude and they are shifted by 120-degree electrical. So this is the maximum amplitude, which is denoted as pi m. Y axis indicates flux and x axis indicates what? Angular displacement, that is theta is equal to omega t. So this is the pi r, flux pi r direction, and this is flux pi b direction, and this is flux pi y direction. So all the three fluxes, they are displaced by 120-degree electrical. Okay, and now if you want to see its waveform, so this is the flux given by the phase r. This is phase r flux. Similarly, this is phase r flux. Then coming what? The next flux is phase y. The next flux is phase y. This is the phase y flux, which is having 120-degree electrical phase shift. After that, phase B. Phase B will be somewhere here. This is the phase B. This portion is for phase B. So altogether, there will be three fluxes which are running at a constant speed or rotating at a constant speed with constant amplitude and having the phase shift of 120-degree electrical. Is it clear, all of you? This is the rotating magnetic flux that is produced in the stator of the three-phase induction motor. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So all these are the geometrical trigonometrical relation, how you are going to get pi r is equal to, what is that, at first juncture when theta is equal to 0 degree, what will be the values of pi r, pi y, pi b? For what is that, if theta is equal to 0 degree, then pi r will be 0, pi y will be minus 0.866 pi m, and pi b will be plus 0.866 pi m. So the position of all these fluxes when theta is equal to 0 degree, theta equal to 0 degree means at this period of time, pi r will be 0, pi y, what is this? This is for pi y. Pi y will be what here? Pi y will be minus 0.86. So just you need to substitute the value of the theta in these equations. Then you will be getting the values for all the three fluxes, and here you are going to represent those waveforms using the formula. All these are the basics. Okay. For different theta value. Next is case 2 is theta equal to 60 degree. Similarly, theta is equal to 120 degree. So for all different theta values, you will be getting pi r, pi y, pi b different values. Using these values, you are going to draw the waveform of the three fluxes which are having same constant amplitude. Okay. And now, after this, speed of the rotating magnetic field. As I told you, this rotating magnetic field, it is rotating at a constant speed. So at what speed it is rotating? So the speed of the rotating magnetic flux ns is equal to what? 120 f divided by p. So what is this 120 f divided by p? This is the speed of the rotating magnetic field which is rotating at a constant speed. So this we call it as synchronous speed. So synchronous speed of the rotating magnetic field, it will be all the time constant and standard, and its formula is ns. Ns stands for synchronous speed, that is given by the formula 120 f by p, where f stands for frequency, supply frequency in hertz, and p stands for number of poles of the machine. Okay, number of poles for which winding is wound. So this is the speed formula for rotating magnetic field. Then working principle of three-phase induction motor. So induction motor works on the principle of electromagnetic induction. So what is the one more machine which is working on the same electromagnetic induction principle? Already you have studied. What is that? On the same yes? Already you have studied transformers, right? What is the working principle of transformers? It is also same electromagnetic induction only, where in the transformer, both primary winding and secondary winding, they are stationary. But here in the case of three-phase induction motor, I may compare primary winding as stator of the induction motor, and secondary winding of the transformer to the rotor of the induction motor. So in the induction motor, there will be rotating parts, but whereas in the case of transformer, there are no rotating parts, but both these machines are working on the same electromagnetic induction principle only. Because of this reason, we call induction motor as rotating transformer. Induction motor, we call it as rotating transformer. Why? Because both transformer and induction motors, they are working on same electromagnetic induction principle. Primary of the transformer is similar to the stator of the induction motor. Secondary winding of the transformer is similar to the rotor of the induction motor. Transformer is static, whereas induction motor is rotating machine. Because of that reason, we call induction motor as rotating transformer. Is it clear, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, how you are going to produce the torque? How the moment of the rotor will take place? So here, this is the what stator, which is having field winding here, and this is the rotor. And in between that, the stator, what is that winding? Whichever it is connected either in star or in delta, it is going to produce a rotating magnetic field. And this rotating magnetic field, it is going to cause what? Whenever input is given to this armature conductors, electrical supply is given to the conductors, and if this electrical current carrying conductors, if they are going to force some mechanical experience given by the magnetic field, then automatically there is a moment. Yes or no? What is the motor principle? Whenever a current carrying conductor placed under the influence of magnetic field, then conductor experiences the mechanical force. Yes or no? So here current carrying conductors are nothing but the rotor armature conductors. Whenever they are placed under the influence of magnetic field, means that magnetic field is the rotating magnetic field given by the stator conductors. And because of that, armature conductors will experience the force. So here there are many number of armature conductors, they are wound onto this rotor. Because of that, rotor will start to move. Rotor will experience the mechanical force. Because of that, rotor of the induction motor will start to rotate. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so these are the working principle for motor. How the moment of rotor is going to take place. It is just based on motor principle. That is, whenever a current carrying conductor is nothing but the armature conductor for which we have given the electrical input, placed under the influence of magnetic field, means so here the magnetic field is rotating magnetic field produced by the stator winding. Then conductor experiences the force. Conductor means armature conductor. So there are so many armature conductors, they are wound onto the rotor. Because of that, rotor will start to rotate. Rotor means induction motor will start to rotate. Okay, so this is all about induction motor working principle. Now, construction of the three-phase induction motor. So as I have told you, induction motor, it is going to consist of mainly two parts. That is, basically the induction motor consists of two parts, namely the part that is three-phase induction motor, which is three-phase windings, which is stationary. So the first part is that part where the portion is completely stationary and it is having three-phase windings, for which we call it as stator. So this is the stator, okay. And then the other part which is rotating and is connected to the mechanical load through the shaft, and it is called as rotor. So the other part of the induction motor is connected to the load with the help of the shaft, and that part is rotating in nature. Because of that reason, we call that as rotor. Okay, so if I want to compare transformer with the induction motor, primary winding of the transformer is similar to the stator of the induction motor. Secondary winding of the transformer is similar to the rotor of the induction motor, and both machines like transformer and induction motor, they are working on the same electromagnetic induction principle. Because of this reason only, we say that the other name for induction motor is rotating transformer. Okay, then the conversion of electrical power to mechanical power takes place in a rotor. As I have told you, conversion of electrical power means armature input is electrical, to mechanical power means moment of the rotor, that is mechanical power. So where it is going to take place? Completely it is going to take place in the rotor part. It is going to take place in the rotor part. Hence rotor develops a driving torque and rotates. So whenever there is a conversion of electrical to mechanical power that is going to take place in the rotor, then rotor develops some twisting force, that which we call it as driving torque, and because of that, motor will start to rotate. but this is the stator. Rotor will be at this position. Rotor will be at the center. Okay, so this is all about stator part. And rotor. Again, in the rotor, there are two types for the induction motor. The rotor is placed inside the stator. The rotor core is also laminated in construction and uses cast iron. So this rotor, it will be placed inside the stator. As I have told you, if this is the stator, inside the stator you will be having rotor inside the stator, and rotor core is laminated just to avoid the losses and all. It is laminated in construction and it is made up of cast iron. Okay, how it is? It is cylindrical shape with slots on its periphery. So it is cylindrical shape. You can see its shape is cylindrical and it is having certain slots here to carry the armature conductors. Okay, the rotor conductors or winding is placed in the rotor slots. So all the armature conductors, they are placed inside the armature slots. The two types of rotor constructions which are used for induction motors are, so yeah, again in the rotor there are two types for the induction motor. One is the squirrel cage rotor, other is the slip ring wound rotor. So here the first one is squirrel cage rotor. This is the circuit for squirrel cage rotor of the induction motor. Okay, and these whatever bars you are seeing, they are made up of either copper or aluminum element. So these are nothing but aluminum or copper bars, and this is the end ring. So aluminum or copper bars, they are short circuited with the help of the end rings. So this is a symbolic representation of the squirrel cage rotor, right? So this is squirrel cage rotor. Then coming to the next type of the rotor is slip ring wound rotor. So this is, but before to that, again in the same squirrel cage rotor, here you can see that skewing is done. Skewing is done just to avoid cogging and crawling. Cogging and crawling means what? Magnetic locking, it will take place in while your induction motor will be rotating, just to avoid that magnetic locking and all. Here what we are doing, we are going to give certain slant position, which we call it as skewing. This will avoid, what is that? This is going to avoid magnetic locking, which is nothing but cogging and crawling. Okay. The advantages of skewing are, first one, why this skewing is important, what are its advantage or what are its benefit. Okay, advantages: a magnetic hum, that is noise gets reduced due to skewing, hence skewing makes the motor operation quiet. So whenever the induction motor is rotating, it is going to produce huge noise. In order to avoid that magnetic hum or noise kind of this thing, what we are doing, we are going to give the skewing. Because of this construction, that noise will be eliminated. Then it makes the rotor operation smooth. So also rotor will be rotating very smoothly. Then the stator and rotor teeth may get magnetically locked. Such a tendency of magnetic locking gets reduced due to skewing. So as I have told you, it is going to avoid the magnetic locking. If magnetic locking is going to take place, then motor will fails to rotate. Right. So to avoid such kind of the thing, here we are going to give the skewing. Then it increases the effective transformation ratio between stator and rotor. So energy is also going to be taken. It is also going to be transferred very effectively from stator to the rotor. So all these are the advantages of skewing. All these are the advantages of skewing of rotor. What is that? Squirrel cage induction rotor. Now the next type of the rotor is slip ring or wound rotor. So slip ring or wound rotor. So here you are having the stator winding, which is connected in star fashion, and this is rotating, and this is the external load to which you are going to give the power supply. And this is sorry, and this is the shaft. This is the stator. This is not the stator, this is the rotor, and this is the shaft. And to the same shaft, here you will be having slip rings, and here there will be the brush, and output of the rotor, it will be given to the external static load via this slip ring assembly. Do you know what is the function of slip ring? Can anybody? Why it will be used?
Because to reduce the friction.
Not to reduce the friction, because it is just because to give the connection between rotating member and the static external load. So here rotating member means what is that? Induction motor rotor will be rotating, and if such a what is that rotating member output, if I want to connect it to the external load which is static, then it is not possible to connect the rotating part to the static part. Static part is the external load which is static, whereas rotating part is the rotor of the induction motor. So in that case, how to give the connection between a rotating member and the static member? So that is possible by making use of the slip ring brush assembly. So slip rings, they are mounted onto the same shaft of the rotor, and these slip rings, they are connected to each of the phase of the winding. So this first slip ring, it is connected to the R phase. Next slip ring, it is connected to the Y phase. The remaining third slip ring, it is connected to the B phase. So output of each of the stator windings, they will be collected to this one end of the slip rings. And now these from the other side, each of the slip ring, it will be having the brushes belonging to R phase, Y phase, B phase. From there you can take the output to the external static load. So this is how this slip ring, it is going to facilitate the connection between rotating member, which is rotor, and the static member, which is static external load. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So this is all about different types of rotors in the case of induction motor. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Yes? Do you have any doubts?
No, sir.